go someplace. I just want to get well again. So I get over there and I'm going through my physical, and the doctor's telling me I had a slight heart attack smoking that mess. I was like, wow, I was that close to dying. So I got myself together and they loved me up. And I came back to the Washington Wizards, which is the Washington Bullets back then. Had a great season and getting ready to have the best season of my life. And then Iman was in an automobile accident in New York. So I had my young daughter, Zuleika. I had her sister, Nadia, and Idul stayed with us because, Somalia was going through exile and they didn't have green cards. So I brought all of her family and lived with me in New York. So I had to go home, and that's how I ended my career, right at home. But I went through my sobriety. I went through treatment. I did treatment for first my 30 days, and then the counselor scared me and said, "You're going to need more. You no good. You can't wait to get high." And sure enough, in my mind, I was thinking I can manage my getting high now. So I did another 60. Did another 60 days. Then I drove my car all across the country, making meetings, and I was sitting on the bank behind my house in Mississippi, trying to figure out what happened. And then going through the history of my family, I've lost 4 brothers and sisters to alcoholism because the disease is in our gene, and now I'm going into my 38th year of sobriety because
That's awesome.
I worked the program, and Shakira, my daughter that's here now, she used to go with me to see my psychologist. And so she would sit in the lobby. And so she ended up being a doctor and a psychologist because of my problem. And so I've been so grateful
Wow.
and so much gratitude. And that's what happened in LA. That's the story, Raj.
Wow.
Kind of deep, but that's what happened.
Kinda.
When you think,
Yeah.
Kinda deep.
when you think too, though, like where the trajectory of your life, you're talking about somebody who went from working hard labor,
Mhm.
to suddenly you're in the NBA, you're in all these types of high level, crowds, you're in the Olympics, you've got attention, you've got money now. Like now there was no rookie symposium there was no
Please.
mental health coach or sports
Please.
psychologist to help you through this. And it speaks to like the importance of these topics that have become more relevant now, but back then there was no support.
There was nothing, no support. In fact, when I went to see the psychologist, my psychiatrist first with Iman, when we was just settling into New York and after retirement, I went in and I was trying to figure out, I don't have no problem, so why am I here? Maybe she got a problem, but not me. And so I listened to him and I started talking, and then he said, "Well, Iman, you got to go out. You got to get out of the room." And so then we start talking and we start dealing with how I grew up in Mississippi, the whole Klan thing that I lived through, and how they were shooting at us at night, and it just so much stuff started boiling over. And I walked out of there. I said, I think I found a place to hang. So that's been my life, going and talking it out. I don't carry no baggage with me. And so I just dump it in. And so what happened was then I became the chairman of the board for the NBA retired players. The first thing out of my box were we need health insurance. So Chris Paul, LeBron James, Steph Curry, and those guys said, we're going to give you the same health insurance that we got. So at that same time, Nate Archibald, Hall of Famer, great guard of all times, he was dying because he had needed a heart transplant. So we got him that heart transplant. Earl Monroe had hip problems. We got all of those things straight. So that's been my little mission, working with my guys, the older guys, and hanging around with the young guys, listening to them telling me about old days.
All
And
these
it's pretty
guys,
cool.
all,
They don't know about
all
old
these
days.
guys got to send you a handwritten thank you note and a gift because you've protected them at the beginning of their careers, during their careers, and when they're done, they're going to be protected afterwards as well as retired players.
Yes.
Seriously, it's
But that's God's will.
The VC show, let's go.
Union Pacific Railroad wants you to join its team. It's an opportunity that comes with great pay and benefits. There are a variety of open roles across its 23-state network, including train crew positions, with hiring and relocation incentives of up to $50,000 in some locations. You can even get a free college education while working. Union Pacific Railroad connects hundreds of communities, hauling goods Americans rely on every day. Get your career on the right track with Union Pacific and apply today at up.jobs/sports. That's up.jobs/sports.
well, actually, I know that you get to hang out in Las Vegas, and I know Vince and I have talked about this on the show. We wanted to look forward with you, look forward direction. You live in Vegas, and the NBA has been rumored to exploring a team in the NBA. LeBron James has even said, I would love to bring a team here at some point in Vegas. How do you feel about a team in Vegas and LeBron being part of the leadership that makes that happen?
That is probably the greatest thing for our city, but also for the NBA, because we have the gaming. It's already set up, the books and everything, and it's legal. We have the Raiders came here, broke, dragged out, nobody wanted them. We built a new $1 billion, a couple of $3 or $4 billion Allegiant stadium. They have blossomed. Their revenue has grown tremendously, and we got now the Oakland A's are trying to move here, or the Texas team, one of the Texas teams are trying to move in baseball. This would be, I would think, be the greatest thing that happened in the NBA, as well as for LeBron James, because I think he's one of the front runners on this. And there's a lot of funds out here with people who want to join him. And there's a lot of international funds. And we have a T-Mobile Arena. We already have it set up and rolling. And in the meantime, the Lewicki's, who was trying to build the franchise in Seattle, because the Sonics, you got to have, when you come back with the expansion, you're going to have 2 teams coming in, because otherwise it would be unbalanced. So you're bringing back the Sonics, where my jerseys and all of my stuff is in storage, because I didn't want to let them take my stuff to OKC. Lenny Wilkins' stuff is in storage. Gary Payton's stuff is in storage. So we all going to have a big day up there in 2.5 years when they come back. And here you have LeBron, who has gave the league so much, and now he's an owner, and he might get a chance to play, Vince, with his young son for 1 year.
I know, that's
here
crazy.
in Vegas. It's going to be something special. So that's my joy of him having that franchise.
Let's talk about your podcast. Tell us about the Spencer Haywood Rule in your podcast. You get to tell your story every day, and we're